And one of the great things about being dyslexic is you're told over and over again that you can't do things. One of the great things about trying to marry Jill Spaulding is that I asked the girl out like 50 times before she even said yes to me. I pretty much stalked her. I don't take no for an answer. You ask, you ask, you ask. So I have this ability in my head that I don't believe in no. I don't believe in you can't do things. And then I asked myself what God wanted me to do is love that man and build a relationship with that man and earn that man's trust. And I lived in that village another year. So I committed myself that every day I was going to go over Mr. Tonica's house and I was going to find a way to bless that man, find a way to serve him, to earn his friendship. Shovel in the driveway. It snowed like crazy in Kisa, Fukushima, Machi. That was the village I lived in. I mean, snowed like dump snow. That's where the Winter Olympics were, in the Alps. And he'd be out there 3, 4, 5 in the morning, nearly every day, shoveling that snow around his bakery so his customers can come in. He'd always do it by himself. But I'd show up every day when it snowed, right next to him, shoveling side by side, working my tail off, trying to earn that guy's respect. He never looked at me. He never acknowledged me, never said hello, never said thank you, but I did it over and over and over and over. They own 4 or 5 rice fields. They have rice in Japan, and a lot of families grow their own rice. And I'm not sure if any of you have ever picked rice before, but it's really one of the hardest jobs because you're getting down low, and you're down low all day, and you're sweating your pillow. And I did that over and over. Paint his house, take out trash, tutor this, do that, pick up that, whatever I can. And this didn't go on for a few weeks or a few months. It literally took nearly the full year to build that relationship. And then one day, I came over for dinner like I always do, sat down at the table with Mrs. Tonica and her 3 kids, and then Mr. Tonica walks in, and he sits down right next to me, and he puts a bottle of sake right in the middle of the table. And he doesn't look at me, he doesn't say a word the whole dinner. And I knew it's Japanese custom. It's very opposite. In America, the host always serves and what can I get you? But in Japan, when the guest comes to the home, halfway through the meal, the guest notices the sake in the middle of the table and picks up the sake and pours a glass to the master of the home or the sensei of the home. So I picked up the bottle of sake and I looked at Mr. Tonica's empty glass and I was shaking and I poured that first glass of sake and Mr. Tonica picked up that glass and looked right up to me and gave me eye contact for the first time and said, "Kanpai," which is cheers. And then after he drank that sake rather fast, he picked up the bottle, and then he leaned over, and he poured that glass to me. And I picked it up, and I drank it rather slow. And then I picked up the bottle and poured him a glass. And this went on multiple times. We pretty much finished the bottle of sake. And it's amazing what alcohol can do to build international relationships. So I very promote sake at dinner tables. But that was the beginning of our friendship. And we built a really beautiful friendship. He never spoke to me in English because he never could speak English, and he didn't want to learn English. But we talked to each other through our love of our family, and we had many dinners together before I was able to leave that village. And I built a friendship with him. And I want to close our power breakfast, and I want to thank Rob at the Business Journal for inviting me here. Because it's been a special couple days, and yesterday's time with my friend Scott was probably one of the best times I've had in a few months. But I want to tell you about the last day at Kisa, Fukushima. I went to the train station to leave that village after 2 years of living there. And thanks to the bartender from upstate New York, I got a full scholarship to go to Brisbane, Australia to get my MBA degree. Full scholarship thanks to Rotary. So I was going to Sydney to fly there to get to Brisbane. I had to get to Tokyo Airport, so I pack all my bags. I've been there 2 years in this village. Only went home once for that interview. And I get to the train station, and there was a couple hundred people at the train station. And none of them were getting on the train. They were all there to say goodbye to me. The Japanese people were just wonderful. They had these gifts and these presents, and they were just wonderful. But the interesting thing, Japanese people don't hug. The 2 years there, I never hugged anybody. Japanese mom and dad could send their kids to college. They come back 4 years later. How was college? I hope it was very good. I mean, it's incredible. I don't know how they have sex over there. They don't hug. It's very interesting culture. Everything's hugging. Sometimes shaking hand, but there's no hugging. So we're about to get on the train, saying goodbye to all these wonderful people who are bowing to me. And then in the corner of my eye, I see Mr. and Mrs. Tanaka driving their car with their 3 kids, pulling up to the train station parking lot and running out of that car as fast as they can. And Mr. and Mrs. Tanaka were holding hands, and they were holding their 3 kids, racing to the train station. I knew exactly where they're heading. They raced up the train tracks right through me. And at that very moment, I'm looking at this, and it was like the most surreal experience, as I realized that in my friendship and relationship with Mrs. and Mr. Tanaka, it really always took place inside their home. I always went to dinner in their home, their shop. I never really hung out with them outside the public. And here was 200 of the villagers that know the hatred this man has for the United States of America because he wears it on his face and his arms. They must know the hatred this man has. And this man was running right towards that American kid, right towards me, and in front of everyone just opens his arms and hugs me as hard as he can. And he's crying, and he's got tears in his eyes. And he looks at me, and he pulls back my face, and he says to me his first English words, "Tommy, I love you. You're my American son. You're my American son." And I got on that train, waving goodbye to Mr. and Mrs. Tonic and his kids and the whole community. And I was thinking about Mr. Tilton telling me I should go to BOCES because I'm not smart enough to go to college, thinking about these law school applications, about getting rejected everywhere I go, thinking about a whole life, reading that book, schmoozing people, making a lot of money, networking, getting popular. It's all about me, overcome my chip. And I realized my greatest gift to this world was winning that man's heart, was winning that man's love and friendship the old-fashioned way, through hard work and service. That is what my message is about. Every person in this room has a Mr. Tanaka in your life. It might not be a man that lost his family in the bombing of Hiroshima, but they're tough to love. There's racial divides in this community, in this state. There's nonprofits, there's for-profits, there's companies, there's education right here in Wilmington that need to build a community. And there's leaders in this community that need to reach out and build bridges with different sectors, different religions, different races to stand for something. I believe that's what the Business Journal wants to do. Spending that much time with Rob, I get his thoughts. Every single person in this room has a contribution to be ambassadors of our country, to make a difference. But if you take the spirit that I talk about in my book and you apply that to business concepts, you will have lifelong, I will do anything for you, I will stick with you no matter what, customers. You will have lifelong, I'll do anything for you no matter what you pay me, employees. Because people don't work for money. They might tell you they do. They work because they want to feel valued. That's why my buddy left that job, and now he's not flying corporate jets. He's flying coach because he wants to feel valued, and he feels valued at that bank. Everybody has an opportunity to build those relationships. And I challenge you to think about the people in your life and how you can lead through love and service rather than living your life like this book my dad gave me. You can't manipulate love. It's got to come from here. And you can love clients, and you can love your employees. A different type of love, but you can. The conversation I had last night with my friend Scott Diggs and my cousin Joey wasn't about NSW bullshit. It was about real love. And if you can apply that to your life, it's going to change not only your business, but your community. Thanks so much for having me. God bless. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. Sure.
I want to make sure everybody knows first, Tommy said he's going to stick around till he shakes everybody's hand who wants to meet him and talk. And we have some of his books out at the registration area if you'd like to get a copy of his book and meet him. Tommy, I wanted to thank you very much for coming to Wilmington, particularly for coming at 1/25th of your normal rate. So I'm not sure Wilmington's big enough to afford the normal rate, but this was a great message for our community. As a small token of our appreciation, we have a Wilmington Cup for you from King Off's Jewelers. So thank you again for coming.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.